A tribute to Jack Nicholson, one of the greatest actors of any generation.
Just a little problem with the old sperm bank upstairs. Nothing I can't handle, though, Lloyd.
Since the inception of film, much debate has been had not only surrounding who the greatest actor or actress in the history of movies may be, but additionally over what criteria should be assessed in an attempt to crown a clear champion. Some have pointed towards their impact on the industry, while others look to the off-camera persona, or record at award shows, and, of course, their prolificacy and relevancy of their filmography itself.
For 11 Academy Awards, this is his third win.
No matter which way one looks at it, Jack Nicholson consistently proves himself as one of film's foremost legends and quite possibly the greatest actor to ever grace the silver screen. Nicholson holds the record for the most Academy Award nominations for a male actor, with a whopping 12, stretched over a near 40-year run.
And the winner is Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's.
Beginning in 1968 and concluding in 2006, Nicholson won 3 of those awards, putting him just behind Katharine Hepburn, and alongside Meryl Streep, Daniel Day-Lewis, Ingrid Bergman, Frances McDormand, and Walter Brennan for the most Oscars in Academy history. The actor also starred in 3 Best Picture winners, starting with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975, Terms of Endearment, 1983, and finally The Departed, 2006.
This rat, this gnawing, key-eating fucking rat. And it brings up questions.
But Nicholson did not rise to such titanic heights overnight. In fact, it took the actor 14 years in Hollywood before he finally snatched a substantial role in a studio blockbuster, in Dennis Hopper's Easy Rider, 1968. He arrived in Tinseltown in 1954 to visit his sister, and was steadily intoxicated by the burgeoning film industry, picking up odd jobs around the city with the ultimate goal of becoming an actor. Nicholson was first discovered by the Pope of pop cinema, Roger Corman, debuting in the Corman-produced The Crybaby Killer, 1958. And collaborating with the director repeatedly over the next decade, in the likes of The Little Shop of Horrors, 1960, The Raven, 1963, The Terror, 1963, and The St. Valentine's Day Massacre, 1967. During that time, Nicholson formed an additional partnership with pulp western director Monte Hellman, appearing in Ride of the Whirlwind, 1966, and The Shooting, 1966.
I don't know, it seemed like if Leland had been involved with the event in Weslow, he'd have rode off too, wouldn't he?
All of his work led him to the role of inebriant lawyer George Hanson in Easy Rider. And while it is nearly impossible to imagine anyone else in that role, Nicholson's breakthrough performance was almost portrayed by veteran actor Rip Torn, who dropped out only after a dispute with Hopper. Thankfully, Nicholson landed the part, and went on to carve out one of the most interesting careers in the history of film. Originating some of its most recognizable heroes, villains, and everything in between. An early 70s run as a new kind of leading man. 5 Easy Pieces, The Last Detail, Chinatown, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Nicholson's career as a leading man began with 1970's 5 Easy Pieces, directed by frequent collaborator Bob Rafelson, and written under a male pseudonym by Carol Eastman.
The best that I can do is apologize.
The film saw the actor star as Bobby Dupuy, an untethered hired hand working on an oil rig who left behind the pride and privilege of his wealthy upbringing and prodigious abilities on the piano. After learning the news that his estranged father had fallen ill, Dupuy must travel along the Pacific coast with his tempestuous girlfriend, played by Nashville 1975 star Karen Black, in a surprisingly quiet and gentle journey through familial repression and the spirit of wanderers.
What makes you think it's cleaner?
I saw a picture of it. Alaska's very clean. It appeared to look very white to me.
Nicholson became a household name overnight and was dubbed the new American anti-hero, his larger-than-life persona quickly developing into a tangible trademark. The actor starred in Mike Nichols' Carnal Knowledge, 1971, and again teamed with Bob Rafelson on The King of Marvin Gardens, 1972, before finding his next iconic role in Hal Ashby's romping The Last Detail, 1973. He portrayed naval signalman Bailey Badass Badusky, who was assigned along with Otis Young's Richard Mule Mulhall to escort a dishonorably discharged 18-year-old seaman to the Portsmouth Naval Prison. The pair of grizzled officers form a tender connection to the young man played by Randy Quaid, sentenced to 8 years of imprisonment for the attempted theft of $40, and seek to give him the week of his life on their way up to the prison. The film became famous for its excessive profanity, a record at the time, and blend of side-splitting humor with forlorn sincerity. While Nicholson was unquestionably making a name for himself as one of Hollywood's most versatile actors, no one could have predicted the unbelievable two-film run that he would go on after The Last Detail. In back-to-back years, the actor starred in Roman Polanski's immortal neo-noir Chinatown, 1974, and Milos Forman's psychological tragic-comedy film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975. The former saw Nicholson star as the endlessly parodied private detective Jake Gittes, attempting to navigate his way through the dangerous underbelly of 1930s Los Angeles and the real-life story of the California water wars.
Who is she? And don't give me that crap about your sister because you don't have a sister.
Gittes is ensnared in a spellbinding mystery by Faye Dunaway's femme fatale, Evelyn Mulray, leading to a bottomless mystery with a rightfully iconic conclusion. The actor would win his very first Best Actor Oscar a year later for the aforementioned One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, in which he portrayed Randall Patrick McMurphy, an imprisoned man who gets himself transferred to an Oregon psychiatric hospital to avoid penal labor. The hospital is tyrannized by the domineering head nurse Mildred Ratchet, an Oscar-winning turn from Louise Fletcher, and McMurphy sets out on a mission to inspire excitement and rebellion amongst the hospital's patients, including Danny DeVito, Christopher Lloyd, and Brad Dourif.
Not a thing, Doc. I'm a goddamn marvel of modern science.
Nicholson turned in his most breathtakingly honest and devilishly indelible performance to date with this film, officially cementing himself as the forefront actor of his generation. Embracing his darker side across the 1980s, The Passenger, The Shining, Terms of Endearment, and Batman. In the same year as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Nicholson teamed with the Italian director L'Avventura, 1960, and Blow Up, 1966, Michelangelo Antonioni, for the stunningly beautiful international noir The Passenger, 1975.
I just sold 5,000 hand grenades, 900 rifles.
Nicholson portrayed David Locke, a journalist and news documentarian who assumes the life of a mysterious look-alike businessman who dies in a neighboring hotel room while Locke is working on a dead-end assignment in northern Africa. Unbeknownst to Locke, the man is an arms dealer connected to an underground civil war movement in the nation, a fact that proves exceedingly troublesome for the unsuspecting journalist. Featuring jaw-droppingly huge cinematography that gallivants across Africa and Europe, and a serpentine, subdued star turn at its center, the film is altogether unlike anything Nicholson undertook across his career. Jumping forward 5 years brings about quite possibly the most important film of Nicholson's entire career, Stanley Kubrick's crowning achievement, The Shining, 1980.
When do you think maybe he should be taken to a doctor?
As soon as possible. As soon as possible.
Famously adapted from Stephen King's novel of the same name, Nicholson portrayed Jack Torrance, a struggling writer and distant father who agrees to serve as the caretaker of the isolated Overlook Hotel during the long winter off-season with his wife and son, Shelley Duvall's Wendy and Danny Lloyd's Danny. The job goes awry when the demons hidden in the hotel's walls begin to torment the family, and they all learn that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. It's hard to overestimate the amount of craft that went into creating such a technically and imaginatively perfect movie as The Shining. And while everyone behind the camera is working at the absolute peak of their ability, it is impossible to ignore the all-time great performance delivered by Nicholson. With a dissociated stare or an animalistic growl, the actor lays bare all that he has and blurs the line between acting and reality in a performance that shines brighter than any other.
Wendy? Stay away! Darling, light of my life. Gonna hurt you.
The 1980s saw an influx of roles in more studio-produced mainstream Hollywood movies for Nicholson, often relegated to memorable supporting roles within expansive ensemble casts. Films such as Warren Beatty's Reds, 1981, and James L. Brooks's Broadcast News, 1987, saw compelling, brief flashes of the actor that landed him nominations for Best Supporting Actor. But the actor would win the award for his role of Garrett Breedlove in Brooks' earlier familial drama, Terms of Endearment.
I don't know what it is about you, but do bring out the devil in me.
Starring alongside Shirley MacLaine, Deborah Winger, and Jeff Daniels, the film told the story of a highly strung mother and her free-spirited daughter across 30 years of their lives. Nicholson played a retired astronaut and abrasive neighbor of MacLaine, who begins courting her off and on during the film, ultimately endearing himself when the family faces unthinkable adversity.
It's just I'm starting to feel an obligation here, and it makes it rough.
Only 6 years later, Nicholson would turn in what is likely the most famous of his supporting roles as Jack Napier, aka the Joker, in Tim Burton's iconic Batman in 1989. The actor delivered a gleefully over-the-top performance that was cited as inspiration by both Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight 2008 and Joaquin Phoenix in Joker 2019.
I just like the sound of it.
Self-reflection in his later years. A Few Good Men, As Good as It Gets, About Schmidt, and The Departed. The actor returned to the world of on-screen villainy 3 years later in Rob Reiner's quintessential courtroom drama A Few Good Men, 1992. The film, scripted by The Social Network and Steve Jobs writer Aaron Sorkin, and adapted from his very own play. The film starred Tom Cruise and Demi Moore as lawyers tasked with defending 2 U.S. Marines accused of murdering a fellow Marine at the Guantanamo Bay Naval Base in Cuba.
It has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it?
Their case forces them up against an opposing lawyer played by Kevin Bacon, and a sadistic colonel played by Nicholson. The film has been catapulted to iconic status due to its pitch-perfect script, famously featuring an inflamed Nicholson barking at Cruise, the now infamous line, "You can't handle the truth."
What, the truth? You can't handle the truth!
Nicholson would win the final Academy Award of his career for yet another collaboration with James L. Brooks in the 1997 romantic comedy As Good as It Gets. The actor portrayed Melvin Udall, a misanthropic New York romance novelist with an intense form of obsessive-compulsive disorder, who lives a strictly regimented life and isolates himself from those around him behind a wall of bitter prejudices. In an Oscar-winning performance, Helen Hunt portrays a single mother with a perpetually ill son, who is the only waitress Melvin allows to serve him food at his favorite restaurant. Greg Kinnear additionally portrays a game painter recovering from a brutal robbery whose small dog is forced upon his spiteful neighbor, Melvin, as he recovers in the hospital. Both of these individuals are forced to deal with the increasingly difficult Melvin as he further complicates their lives, coming together as an unlikely trio and teaching each other that life isn't always what one hopes it to be, but that doesn't mean it isn't beautiful.
Give me some sign you understand.
Nicholson took on a similar character only 5 years later in Election, 1999 director Alexander Payne's About Schmidt, 2002, where he portrayed the titular Warren Schmidt, a hapless 66-year-old man struggling to figure out what to do with the rest of his life after the sudden death of his wife. The beauty of About Schmidt is often in the little details, and Nicholson turns in a devastatingly nuanced performance that culminates in a soul-shattering final scene sure to prove his prowess to even the firmest of disbelievers. Jack Nicholson's final major film role before his official retirement from acting in 2010 came in Martin Scorsese's acclaimed Boston crime epic The Departed, 2006. A loose remake of the 2002 Hong Kong Internal Affairs, the film pitted stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon against each other as spies simultaneously infiltrating both the criminal underworld and Boston Police Department.
This one guy brings the items, and the other guy pays him.
Nicholson portrayed Frank Costello, the ruthless Irish mob boss who deploys Damon and toys with DiCaprio across the film's runtime, and exudes the effortless, cool Scorsese's gangster films had become synonymous with. Despite his career winding to a close, Nicholson offered some of the most formally impressive work to date, honoring many of his villainous outings over the years in a vicious amalgamation of all that made him the greatest actor of his or anyone else's generation.
Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in.